Hello, my loves. Welcome to Be Ever Vibrant. My name is Kellyanne, and today I want to make sure that we really nail in to that coffin of getting unstuck, okay? But not just nail into it as in like get unstuck in this moment, but make sure that you have every single resource that you need to get unstuck, okay? I've got a lot of resources, a lot of tools in my belt because I've been stuck many times in my life. I got really stuck in my shame. My head was buried in the sand after I got a herpes diagnosis, and for 2 years I just lived like I didn't matter, which is really sticky. And then I have also been stuck after a breakup, uh, when I needed to get an abortion. I've been very stuck in a lot of areas of my life and in a lot of ways. I've been stuck in passive aggression and wanting to get out of that. I've been stuck in toxic family patterns that I wanted to heal, that I took time to go to each member of my family and like clear the air with them. I mean, I've done a lot of work, not only to like examine my stuckness, but also to get unstuck. And these are the things that have helped me, okay? But first, I just want to make sure that y'all know I have a playlist for several days worth of all of these resources that I'm giving you now. I put each and every single resource into its own video. So I'm going to give you 3 resources right now, and a bonus 4th resource, but they all have their own space. So I'm going to make this really brief, but I would love for you to check out the Getting Unstuck playlist so that you can go and dig into whichever of these tools and resources feels like the kind of thing that you want to dig into right now. Okay, so first up, when we are stuck and we are feeling lost and we are feeling foggy, or we are feeling like this is a negative pattern and I don't like it and I don't want to do this anymore, the first thing that we need to assess is, you know, where am I? How stuck? How stuck am I? And how did I get here? But the second thing, which is the resource that I'm sharing right now, is a very provocative question, which is, what do I secretly like about being stuck? You're there for a reason, and you're not there like for a reason as in just to learn a life lesson. You're there because part of the reason is there's something you like about it. There's some kind of version of yourself that you maybe unconsciously or subconsciously really actually like about yourself. For example, when I was stuck in my herpes diagnosis, the thing that I liked about being stuck in my shame, I've got the hair on my chest ticklies. The thing that I liked about being stuck in my shame, and the reason that I stayed there for so long, was being able to absolve myself. And this is a moralization that I made at the time. I don't condone it, and I don't feel like it's the best thing, which is why I'm not there anymore. I'm not living. That was not with integrity for me. That was out of my integrity. And now that I'm living in integrity, I'm like, oh, well, wasn't that fun for a while? What I liked about just being in denial about having herpes and having all of this shame of like I'm a bad person is, I'm a bad person and I don't have herpes, was what I was telling myself. And so I just went around being a bad person and not telling people that I was sleeping with that I had herpes. It's so much easier not to have the conflict or the confrontation of communicating with a sexual partner. Hey, I have HSV. It's this and that and this and that. And now I have it's a teachable moment. And now we're educating each other. And now you can either reject me or you can say, all right, let's both go get tested and we can like level the fuck up. We can just flourish together no matter what happens. I did not want to go there. So the thing that I really actually secretly admired about this version of myself was she doesn't have to be honest, Abe. I'm a critically honest person. Like I'll just say what I think and I'll say how I feel and I won't necessarily hide from giving the full weight to something that is like an uncomfortable truth. But that was a moment, a period of my life where I got to be dishonest Abe and dishonest Abigail. And it was a version of me that I probably never would have gotten in any other context in my life. It was a version of me that I got to live out for a while and see how it fit, and I didn't like it. But the resource that I used to get me out was asking myself, if I've been here for so long. I've been in my shame and this denial spiral for 2 years. What do I like about this depressed version of me? What do I see? What am I secretly getting out of it that really helped me to launch away from it? The second resource is the metrics for success by which you are comparing yourself. Okay. You might feel stuck or you might feel lost in the world because the social constructs that we have tell us there are certain metrics for success. You know, I've spoken about this in other videos, how instead of 2.5 kids, which was a measure of success, not too long ago, we have 2.5 jobs, which is maybe not a measure of success, but a metric by which, wondering if y'all heard the sirens, probably not. A metric, this guy's pretty good. This guy's pretty good. The metric for success by which we might be comparing ourselves to others is like how many jobs we have or how much money we're making at our jobs. And if you're feeling stuck and you're feeling like, I don't understand why I'm such a freaking failure. I'm working as hard as I can. I'm doing as much as I can and I still feel like I'm not where I want to be. The metrics that you're using to measure where you're supposed to be versus where you actually are in your life, they might be askew. They might not actually be metrics that you even align with and agree with or think are ethical or realistic. So you really have to pay attention to that. But there's another caveat here with these metrics, and that most of the metrics for success that we have are have this underlying foundation of really evil, and I mean evil, government systems and cultures, we'll say. If you want to hear about this like evil pervasiveness that will help you understand the next level for how to use this as a resource, this question of like, what are my metrics as a tool for getting unstuck, highly recommend going to the Getting Unstuck playlist and checking out, I think it's the third video, the metrics video, okay? Go and check that out because it goes deeper. This rabbit hole goes so much deeper. And if you want to go down that YouTube rabbit hole, that's where you should go, okay? Third resource. The third resource that we need to sort of encapsulate is worry. Worry, concern, anxiety. These are things that plague the majority of us now because no matter what kind of neurodivergence, neurospiciness you experience, even if you're neurotypical, you're probably to some degree worried or concerned about the future, worried or concerned about things that are out of your control. Find yourself anxious about things that you can't necessarily fix right away, or maybe even at all, not alone at least. And when we have, not that this is the resource, is anxiousness, but getting out of that habit of living in the future tense through anxiety and worry and concern is going to help you drop back into where you are now and recognize like what exactly you have control over so that you can get unstuck your way. So again, I feel like this is so much better said in the full video in the Getting Unstuck playlist. So go and check that out because I I think it's really freaking deep to talk about how anxiety is sort of a guide for us and makes a lot of decisions for us, or like tells us which paths to take. And then we come to find out later that it's like, oh, I chose this thing based on a a weird bug that I had in my system. Is kind of what anxiety feels like, this weird bug squirming around in there. And the more that we give our energy to it and the more we give our attention to it, the more that it controls us and it takes over our lives and it takes over our way of thinking and processing. It's really powerful to examine anxiety from that lens, and then to also talk about like the tool that I give for getting out of it and being able to have some very practical resources that you can start practicing today, tomorrow, this week, for making sure that you are not letting your anxiety make choices for you, because I think that's a pattern that we all get stuck in. Now, the last bonus resource is actually the first thing that I shared in the Getting Unstuck series, which is compassion. You can't get unstuck if you are not willing to observe and witness your suffering. If you don't even know that you're suffering, how do you know that you're stuck? If you don't pay attention to the ways that you're suffering, how are you going to know what to do to get unstuck? Where to start when it comes to getting unstuck? How will you know? And the other part of compassion is not just being a witness to yourself, but doing something about it and feeling kindly toward doing something about it. Not like that frustrated, like no sleep parent who just grabs the kid by their arm and yanks them into the car and slams the door and it says, "You're coming whether you want to or not." It's not really the most compassionate way to do things and to operate, and especially if you treat yourself that way and you treat the areas of your inner world that are stuck that way. How do you think they're going to react? How do you think they're going to respond? Not very well, I'll answer. Not very well. So having compassion and getting into the development of the practice of compassion is really pivotal. And I mean like developing a practice of compassion as in like, you can be empathetic, you can see somebody else struggling and go, "Oh no. Oh, I understand. That sucks. Ah, been there. Been there. Yeah, yeah, it does stink. It stinks a lot. Wow. Oh no. Oh, hug, hug, hug. Okay, see you later." There's empathy, and then there's compassion, which says, "Oh, yeah, that does suck. Tell me more about it." And gets curious and becomes this very kind observer of the process. There's something different that happens in the ministry of presence, as Shia LaBeouf said recently. there's something different about the ministry of presence that kind of takes over the getting unstuck process, which is why this, even as a last bonus resource that I'm sharing in this video, is why I shared it as the first thing in the series, in the Getting Unstuck series, because it's the very first thing that I think everybody should learn how to do for themselves and for others, so that we can be better equipped to love each other unconditionally, regardless of what we're going through. And that way, when we're going through it, it doesn't feel like other people are judging, or like we're judging ourselves, or like we're judging other people. It's just like, hey man, we've all been there before and we're going to be there again. It's inevitable. Life is a cycle. Life is many cycles. We're going to be there again. So it's better to be kind to each other than to be cruel. And compassion is the thing that gets us there. Now, if this hasn't convinced you to watch the playlist, I highly recommend that you just dig into your own compassion resources, because even if that's the only thing that you take away from this video is creating a life that is in practice of compassion with compassion, everything's going to turn around. Your whole life is going to turn around and evolve. I feel like the breaking point for me when I had herpes and I was needing to get out was compassion, was self-compassion. So if you're ready to get out and you're not ready to like dive into all these resources that I have here for free on YouTube and for as low as $5 a month on Patreon, then at the very least, check out compassion. Check out the concept of compassion. Do your own research. Go where your gut is telling you to go. Find your own rabbit hole so that you can develop that sense of like, I don't have to be mean to myself. I don't have to beat myself up and bully myself out of this. But I will say, just to bully you a little bit, if you are ready to get out of it and you're ready to get unstuck and you're ready to feel like you're on your way again and like your life is yours again, then why the fuck wouldn't you get all the resources that you could possibly get? Honestly. I love you so much. I hope you join the Vibrant Resource Library and Community on Patreon. It's linked in my description below. And I hope you go and check out that playlist if you need some extra steps and you need some extra tools and resources for free. I love you so much. You're deserving of all the love you desire. And I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day.